Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, he did it. Jazz Chisholm Jr. becomes the latest Yankee to join the 30-30 club. That's 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases, joining an exclusive class of Yankees. And I got to give him some congratulations because, I was kind of beating up on him early this season, mainly with his batting average, but the ups and downs about him and things that maybe, you're not too sure about him, and biting coaches and maybe not having the greatest at-bats and stuff like that, and maybe running his mouth a little bit. All that being said, still having himself a pretty good season there, so we'll do a quick look back at Jazz since he's joined the Yankees there and kind of has joined an exclusive club. So we'll give him a quick kudos episode to Jazz there. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast. And also go to YouTube, search for Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and subscribe there as well. And that's the reason why you want to be a YouTube subscriber. Kind of the latest episode did kind of a little segment there to Jazz. Just congratulate him. It was before he hit the actual 30 home run mark. We kind of knew it was like one away, so you knew it was going to happen at some point. And we kind of looked back and kind of, just maybe for you podcast subscribers, in case you didn't catch the little nugget of information on that, Jazz does join an exclusive class of some Yankee legends. And you got to look back to it. What a great trade by Brian Cashman. Some work, some don't. And this is usually what he's good at. He kind of finds a guy like this who's good, but maybe hasn't taken off yet. You look at someone like, for example, finding a Luke Voigt at the right time, finding Nick Swisher at the right time, getting a couple good seasons out of them, and then kind of letting them walk free. And usually end up getting the best seasons out of the Yankees. And so Cashman does have an eye for that. So for whatever faults you want to have about him, he does have a good eye for looking usually for talent from other areas, brings them here, gets 2 or 3 good years out of them, and then when it comes time to give him the big contract, they say, well, thank you for your services, goodbye, and they usually find someone else, and that kind of offsets some of the big money contracts he hands out. So sometimes you got to do it with the big money there, but sometimes you got to find guys at the right price and the right value, get the most out of them before they hit free agency, and Jazz is kind of right up their alley. So first of all, for Jazz, you want to look at since the Yankees traded for him last season, joins an exclusive club of Yankees who have hit 40 or more home runs in their first 162 games in pinstripe. So, that could go across multiple seasons there. And again, the class of Yankees he joins is Babe Ruth. You might have heard of that guy. Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle, Jason Giambi, who was a great, free agency pickup, even though he got off to a slow start those first few weeks. And crazy enough, maybe didn't realize that Gary Sanchez, who, when the Yankees called him up in 2016, was gangbusters, as well as 2017. That's when you had the Baby Bombers era. Joining that exclusive class of 5 Yankees, again, who've hit 40 or more home runs in their first 162 games as a New York Yankee. And it's unfortunate with Gary Sanchez. We all know what happened to him in 2018. He kind of had the little problems in I think the left shoulder there. He needed to get it scraped out. I mean, he was still hitting home runs, but his batting average dropped, and then overall the seasons after that were just miserable and just all out of whack there, and just, obviously problems. And eventually the Yankees had to ship him out there, defensive problems, getting down, blocking balls and whole things. And Gary Sanchez, to his credit, kind of still at least hung around baseball enough there, so, he still had a job. But unfortunately, remember Gary Sanchez came out like a house of fire there. We thought he might be one of the greatest hitting catchers of all time, at least able to join that illustrious list of Yankees. But getting back to Jazz there, the man of the hour, playing a good second base. Recently he had the kind of knee contusions there, but it seems like he's gotten over it. And he's upped his game a little bit. I was complaining about him with the batting average right now at 242. I know that's not great, but if you remember, a good chunk of the season before he really got hurt, the flank stake tear that took him out for a while, has rebounded, got the power stroke, hitting 242 again. He was like under 200 before he had that injury, of course, with the 30 home runs and 77 RBI. So again, really good move by Cashman, and this guy's under control the rest of this season, but he's arbitration eligible for 2026, so the Yankees will have to go to arbitration with him. They'll have to, obviously, with these numbers he put up, he's going to get a nice, upgrade, good pay raise, but it's only for that one season. Then he hits free agency in 2027, when more than likely the Yankees will say bye-bye at that point. In his late 20s, not saying he's old there, but, I think that he's a guy, I don't think you're looking for like a long-term future there, unless he has some unbelievable, postseason, and then maybe has an unbelievable 2026, then maybe you consider that. Other than that, it seems like a guy that, again, the Yankees are just going to get a few seasons out of and let walk, and then worry about plugging second base when they have to. But nevertheless, solid move by Cashman for a guy you're not really paying a lot. And to give him up, if you want to revisit the trade, maybe, we don't really remember the names at the time. In the trade was Abraham Ramirez, who's right now in the minors, not even doing anything. Jared Sema, Also in the minors, not really doing anything of any sort of worthiness. Now, the only play of substance they seem to have given up in that is catcher / DH for right now the Marlins, and that's Agustin Ramirez, who, for them, he's hitting .255 and he's swatted 21 home runs this season. So, hey, look, that's someone who could have been doing that as a New York Yankee. So, look, hey, you had to give up a little talent to get Jazz there, but to get an infielder, second baseman to flash some good defense, have a strong arm, and hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases, still, you say a quality good trade. Again, the Yankees really got the better of that trade. Now, maybe Ramirez goes off and do some bigger things later on, but again, I think still a really good move by the Yankees and a really good move for Cashman. And we got one more year out of him in 2026, making relatively reasonable money, just comparable with some other guys that could hit 30 home runs. So that's the episode. Jazz will have an opportunity. Got a couple more games left to add to those numbers there, but I felt the 30-30 class is something respectable. It is worth mentioning, and I figure definitely worthy of an audio podcast episode dedicated towards them. So make sure you subscribe to this audio podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees podcast. We got the playoffs coming around the corner. You want to get my hot takes on things, my instant reaction on things, got to be a podcast subscriber, so we'll catch you next time.